Okay, it looks like we got a head and shoulders pattern here on new deaths in the United States. I think I'm going to go short. I noticed that the stock market is reacting in the other direction. Amazing. How cliche are these people in these markets? And the goobers and the institutions. Is that really a goober? No, it's the, I'm looking at that pattern. Divergence. Falling off a little bit. Is this a pullback to go long, dead people? Or is this a price spike? The trend traders would say. Pull back, buy. Pull back, put a buy stop. Right? I filled you here. Williams confirmation fractal buy stop entries are like this, but that's not Williams fractal. It's just we'll buy here. The other very conservative entries, put a buy stop here. Okay, you don't get filled here in the crotch, but boom, you're long after this. So that is the price you pay for the confirmation. You overpay here. But if you put a trailing buy stop here, then you go long. And here you just kind of like cleaned up. And you gotta ask yourself, is this gonna just keep fucking going? Oh, even if it does, these are numbers based on. So it was just spoken by this Valley girl. And I mean, if you close your eyes and listen to this doctor. So there's a female doctor and there's this old 80-year-old doctor for the United States. And apparently Boris took the hydrochloroquines and his temperature went down. That right there is another reason to see that there's going to be quite the maybe final rally here. The numbers come out this morning, so we're waiting for these. Right now it's 3:30 in the morning, so we're exactly so many hours from the 8:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time unemployment claims. Estimated to be at 6 million. I don't usually look at these numbers. I noticed they underestimated last time, and if you watch the market and say, well, look, they underestimated that, why it's going that way, it's already built into the price. I mean, these cliches, old saws about, well, the market move isn't that big because it was already bid down. Well, really, no shit, Sherlock, as they say. And, of course, if you're a person that trades extremes, you kind of know it's going to be extreme. And the trade plan that I'm running this week, amazingly, staying into this one, I guess that's the discipline, is only using the word F. The F word as opposed to the S word. I mean, because I'm just trading literally this whole week. I've been able to stay inside the box of putting on this hedge. I built a couple more scripts that get in a little late. So I got the ones that get in 8 pips away. And so I'm getting in here with a buy stop, whereas the 2-hour orders are like this, very tight. And is this a pullback? Is this the head and shoulders? Is this thing coming back to support resistance like here? When it pulled back to this top, is this a top become a bottom? Is this a trend? So data is data. Is this a penny stock that somebody just started trading? And is this it? Is it over? And also the numbers. Kind of sidetrack. The numbers are bullshit. These are not. Dude, if somebody dies, she just said, the Valley girl just said, if Burks is his name, or Bricks or something. Let's use that plant out at least from, no, I don't know. These people, her husband's married to a Clintonite, a Clinton worshiper, just like the girl who comes out, that beautiful blonde girl that comes out, the spokesman. Her husband's. They're ready to get divorced because their husbands. Same thing with the other one. There's so many couples like that where the guy. There's one where the guy's a Clinton. I can't remember. And married to the other girl who's like. And I just watched the. I like to watch the Alex Jones for entertainment stuff, but 5G really, dude. Like I said, your gold ring's got radiation in it. Life has risk. Oh, cars can kill you. So this whole thing about these dead people, dude, they're saying if you die with it, not from it. The Valley girl just said if you die with it, not from it. My God, these numbers are bullshit. Guy comes in with a broken, arm, and it starts to fester, gangrene, takes over his whole body. But test kit said the guy he was carrying COVID-19. Really? Well, what should we chalk that up to? Well, let's see. We could use a new wing on the hospital. I mean, I hate to sound cynical, but yeah, by the way, it's finally our turn to flex our muscles. And another thing is that this is also going to be really a shocker for people that there's never been more fucking people on the planet. Go look at the world meter. And by the way, there's a lot of old people that have lived amazing lives. 81 years old. I mean, I'm surprised I'm alive. Honestly, when I was 30, I go, if you're 40, it's like, see you, bye-bye. But, I'm 62 years old, so I'm so annoyed by people being so easily spooked. And you have a lot of people that are easily spooked because they're just so soft. They've lived a life of technology that none of us would ever. Honestly, every time I see this 46 gigabyte fucking piece of thing that could probably accidentally eat as a goddamn undersized bottom of the bag potato chip, I'm saying, what the fuck? For us to get 20 gig, I got a 20 gig Mac store sitting here. Dude, if I threw it at you, I could kill you. I don't think I could kill you with a 64 gigabyte. So, I mean, I know kids are like, yeah, whatever. You don't understand. And so that kind of convenience causes atrophy. I mean, it's just making you. Who has to lift up a giant girder? Fuck, when they came out with diesel cranes, people were like, well, that's going to make life easier. And now people are just so soft. And there's so many people. And you're right at the cutting edge. I mean, this is the thing about past, present, future. Right now, at this fucking moment, you're at the cutting edge of the next moment into, like, there's never been so many fucking people. The prosperity's out of control. People in Wuhan, whether people are all like, well, they're going to track it. Dude, they've got the technology. People have built cell phones for these fucking apps. Now, it's the same thing when I saw this redial shit when I was a kid. It's like, oh, you could press a button. Here, I'll show you this phone. You press a button here, number 5. So there's your friend Bob. He's on number 5. I'm like, I'm never going to do that. I think I did it once. I just forgot his number. Thanks. And there's another thing about the MT4 and the algos, and people build all these indicators. I mean, do you know what that indicator does? Do you know how it's built? Could you replicate it? Well, I mean, it's pretty. And some guy just made a comment about, and it is funny that the no nonsense guy has 3 indicators he will not show you. Okay, maybe they're adaptive. I mean, who hasn't thought about this, right? And you could build one very easily where, as the market heats up, the moving average goes into a different math to compensate for the extra volatility. But what you keep doing in that situation is smoothing the data to create this utopian view of where do I pull the trigger. It's not where do I get in and where do I get out. It's how many times a week are you getting in and out? How many times a minute are you getting in and out? In the so-called world of high-frequency competition, where people build these systems where they can pull the trigger and they got to fucking... I mean, I don't agree with this term high-frequency trading as far as like, oh, I can pull the trigger and I can get ahead of you by 5 milliseconds. And the bozos, and this is how the government's got their head so far up the ass, the Dodd-Frank or the Frank Dodd of it all is like, if you go to Chicago, you ever seen the documentaries about trading in the Chicago exchange? Equal wire lengths from the servers to the terminals? Well, it has to be fair. There's level playing field. What makes you think that's helping anybody? You've got to be kidding me. If Joe has lag, I guess if we learn that Joe has lag of 5 nanoseconds, like, watch me fuck up. But do it in the trading pit. It's not fair at all. Some guy's spitting on you. I mean, Okay, that COVID-5 and the S&P 500. So I took a tour when I was a kid of the S&P 500. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I was down there to see Mark Douglas before he was charging a lot of money. And I'm like, holy shit, it was $900 for 3 days with Mark Douglas. And no, this is a guy that's actually just asks himself, it took him 7 years to write a book. Anybody that spends 7 years writing a book, and the question was, why did I lose money? And he drills down to belief systems. Just if you believe you can do that trade, so I'm sitting there. It's 4 o'clock, and I know the stocks just closed, but here's these guys yelling at each other. There was literally 3 or 5 guys yelling at each other, and I said, "What's going on there?" They go, "That's the S&P 500. It doesn't close till like 10 after 4." And I don't know if these guys are just, I don't know, they're representing institutions at that point, but they're bickering about the price, and I'm like, this is inside trading, and then this is truly inside trading. You have to pay for a seat on the exchange. It's like $100,000, and you could sell that seat and never trade on the exchange like a piece of real estate. So it's a very bizarre world. Now you have people that can go online, click on the fucking forex trade, and really, I don't even see the risk in that. I mean, if you had to pay $100,000 for a seat on the exchange to sit there and yell a price at somebody, and read their body language and see if it's like a poker game, for God's sakes. You're gambling. I know people want to put this coat and tie on the world of money, and this is the other battle we're having now. Is they're saying, well, it's health against money. No, money is life. I mean, who's not going to the store and spending money to buy fucking food? Are you kidding me? And who has a farm built on their property? Not many. So the hysteria of this, the interconnectivity. I mean, I'm surprised there's not a COVID app. I mean, what the fuck? So I go to look at the weather. I use Wonder. It's called Wonderground. Kind of a slick graphics. I look at the local weather. I see Corona is weather now. On the 4th day, it's the Corona map of people getting sick. For God's sakes, when the fuck have we been tracking people getting colds? Anyways, I'm so pissed off about that shit. I just can't even understand it. But looking at the data here, and I'm waiting for the London Open, the London breakout. So I've been building a position in a hedge here, and I'm really taking quite a bit of margin. And I'd say really quite a bit, because since I'm using $140 a margin, which I'm actually using, oh God, it's probably twice that if I'm in a balanced hedge where I've gone long and short at the same time. At the same time, Corona is tanking. This is S&P 500 though. So people are going to go short here. And what to do in a bear market? So not that you could fade everything that some people say. When you see people go, oh my God, it's the end of the world. You can be a contrarian, but you still got to get the size right, and you still got to get you can't double think yourself out of it. You can't be the contrarian. You can't say, well, but there's a contrarian on the other side of the contrarian, so which way do I go? And should I counter trend trade it, or should I trend trade it? Now, I would say if you counter trend trade it, you got to trade it big, and you got to trade it fast. If you're going to trend trade it, you're going to be small and wide. So your stops will be. Somebody asked me about, well, so what do you do about the stop in a 60 pip bar? How do you trade a breakout of 60 pip bar? You're going to need a 40 pip stop. So I built some of those, and I'm running 12 hours. Now, these are riskier trades. 12 hours, looking to get in 8 pips above and 8 pips below on a breakout. Just as a hedged, bracketed strategy. Symmetrical, they both last the same amount of time, and they both just disappear. So I have 2 hours all the way to 12, and I'm going to build the dailies and more 12s, because this is where if you spend less time, I mean, if you don't want to keep pressing the button, it's going to cost you more, because now you got to run a wider. What's the point in putting in really tight stops on a 12-hour script? They're going to just blow you out of that. But if you put in a daily script that's got a 100 pip stop, you're like, okay, if they fill me, I get a shitty fill because I put the Williams buy stop way the fuck above me instead of tight. Or do I just if I'm going to scalp, do I just pull a trigger and just, when the spread's tighter, now in Asia the spread's bad, right here the spread's bad. Well, if this was a currency here, it's 5 pips. It's brutal. Now you can't put, if an instrument plus the euro dollar is the only thing you should be trading in the breakout system. unless your broker's giving you a fucking nice tight spread at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time when the spreads start to tighten up in Asia. Then also you have to ask yourself, how volatile is the market? Should I be running my 10 pip stops or my 40 pip stops? And that is the classic question, because am I on a dirt road or am I on a fucking paved road? What kind of vehicle do I need to win the rally, the race? So those are just practical decisions you got to make. But if you've got a playbook of, right here I've only got maybe 12 of these. But if I build 50, which is 100 trade plans because it's a buying and a selling stuff, then on a tablet here, which I'll be doing with real money here soon, on a tablet, it'll just be like, I know what's going to happen. I know I'm going to get fake breakouts. But if I have, like, I'm risking 20 to make 120 when the news comes out, and I'm going to trade it into the news this morning. So they're coming out jobs report. And I also did make the decision last night to get out of a trade that I thought, well, here it is. It's coming back to the center, the mean diversion, or the moving average, whatever have you, the structure. And I know, oh, that price pulse is over. I just went and took all profits because I'm actually, the exit is where you make money, but if you pre-build targets of 20, 30, 40, 50 pips, obviously you're looking for this thing to sweep in a perfect world, and it explodes and you're out, and it scales out the way it's not the way it's scaled in necessarily. That would be kind of, I view as a limit grid entry. Now, limit grid entries, which you can see make money all the time, when the market crushes into a zone and retraces. When they would lose is if it keeps crushing down. So then, if you're able to trade at a real brokerage firm, which we know where those are, you would put on the hedges, and later on, you're like, okay, I'm not only going to cash out here, and this is, I suppose, where the awareness of market phases, that the phase really being volatile to not volatile. So you go from a huge engulfing situation, the market's retraced, and then it's dead in the water. When it's dead in the water, it is the time to build a hedge or think about, where is it going to go? I mean, everybody that's going to make money from that is going to, well, we don't have to get the direction right with the bracketed, but we will pay more. We'll pay 20%, maybe 10 to 20% more for the trade, but that's the insurance of a hedge. So it's not you can't just say, well, I only want to take the good trades. Not, sorry. She's got like 8 other family members. I know she's hot, but her family's insane. So, anybody ever seen that situation? So she's normal. Parents, I mean, maybe her parents are nuts, or her family's nuts. Or she's nuts, and her family's completely normal. So she's a complete spin out, and you're like, God, are you sure this is your kid? I'm sure we've seen that contrast in real life. I don't know why the market's supposed to be not real life, especially like all this insanity. Now look at this S&P 500. I'm going to ask you, do you think this 34 linear weighted moving average, that aqua line there, bear market? Okay, well, I drew a box there. I think we're going into that box. We could get there by Friday. And then all bets are off for that price pulse. I mean, that's going to be it. And I think really the critical thing here is going to be when we start to touch this. We're just about to touch this rooftop. There is a high there. And I do think that these market movements are built on the fact that when we take out this high, why is this candle so fast, or this movement? Because this void has pent up demand. This is the looming void. This was the looming void here. Market comes down, daily chart, people buy it, bring it back to the floor. Here comes the trend traders. They're not waiting for this thing to, like, there isn't, yeah, the 8-period moving average would have been a better entry. I did a video on the 5-period moving average. You'll be getting it here. But structurally, when this thing rallies to this floor and to this, and it's up. Another thing is the market orders. So the counter trend trade is this. You have to trade it big. You got to get the fuck out. As soon as this thing is up, it's triggering bears. Trend trader bears always get in on baby rallies. But then people say, well, I sold here and then they stopped me out. Fuck. Yeah. Because you were just trading one little thing. Like, oh, I joined the no nonsense and I got an algorithm. You do? Yeah. It's like a rifle with like one bullet. And it can only shoot really long shots like a trend. And then, but I don't know what's crazy. Somebody broke into my house and I had the really long rifle in the bathroom and I couldn't even turn it around. Somebody hit me with a shotgun. So a bunch of limit orders. Like, oh, fuck. I died. Really? So you had this, explain to me, how much did that gun cost? Well, the scope cost about $400. I could shoot a guy at like 1,000,000 miles. Really? Okay. Somebody broke in your house and you died from a shotgun? Yeah, I know. I can't believe some goober shows up with a Remington with fucking like pheasant shot in there. And it just sprayed me. I can't see anymore. You mean there's different kinds of guns? It's not about the prey. So the no-nonsense world is like find a piece of prey and, oh no, the Eurodollar, you don't want to trade that because, see, that's all manipulated. You want to look for something that's like that. And it's so cute because No Nonsense claimed that he hit the euro against the pound was his favorite pair. And I thought, are we in the same world? Have you ever seen the euro versus the pound? It's like euro versus the Swiss franc. You're like, I did a video about 5 years ago, euro versus Swiss franc when it was being pegged. Take a look at that and ask me if you could ever build a system for that. It looks like it goes sideways. It takes these little baby spikes, kind of like if you ever looked at like REITs or like really weird instruments. There's stocks that just do nothing but, or look at, it's like if you wanted to trade the, what's it called? The Bitcoin dollar. The one that barely moves. It's like locked. But it does these little blips. So if you zoom in on the data enough, you see these little spikes. And that was the euro versus Swiss. And then it would just take off like fucking nuts. And then when they depegged it, it went through the floor like there was no such thing as a floor. It's just falling into the abyss. And here's the S&P 500 here on this chart just screaming back off the floor going, what the fuck? Seasonal flu? Now, I know people are going to say, I know somebody that died from that. I know somebody who's really sick. Dude, I have been really sick in my life. Food poisoning. I mean, I've been like, I can't believe it. I'm so sick. And not to mention the allergies. Every fucking year, I'm like, holy shit, really? Like, I guess I outgrew some of it. I mean, it used to be so bad. I mean, literally, I couldn't fucking manage. Like, I couldn't cut a lawn. Okay, so life has things to it. And I'm astounded. Okay, I think it's scary to see somebody in a hazmat suit in China. Okay, it is. When you look at those scenes, you're like, am I in a movie? Like, and the fact that it's kind of like, and I thought these people had better technology. There's phone service looks like some blurry shit on VHS that went wrong. Like, what is going on there? What, I thought 4K. I mean, don't they? I guess Chinese gear is not that good. Because I thought they were like mugshot, like secret. I filmed this from a blurry lens in my pocket. What was going on there? And then here we are, so when did you know? What did you know? When did you know? Which, are you kidding? Also, it had this feeling when it first happened. I thought, oh my God, like it's just like a bad trade. Man, I got in big on this trade, and I have no stop on this trade. I mean, I don't know if anybody traded without stops with like, I don't know. There's maybe $800 in the account, and you're like, I could make about $3,000 on this trade if it doesn't wipe me out. As you watch your equity go down to $392, you're like, nah, I still like the trade. Now, these are decisions that they call discretionary trading. This and people make a lot of money trading like that. I mean, look at this Asian guy, Su Lee, samurai trader. He's like, fucking dude, he fucking flipped this account for like $500. People are like, well, everybody, yeah, you can do that trade. Sure, you can make 20 grand for $500. Yes, you sure can. But if you're gonna take the 20 grand and try to make $1 million, all you have to do is have the market go against you in too big of a size, and you're totally fucked, right? Certainly, people can see the danger in that. It's like saying, I'm going to go and I'm just going to drive in the fog. Just by happenstance, there's no traffic, but one day. All it takes is one guy in front of you. And if you're in, he's bigger than you. Or I shouldn't say that, because this idea that the big boys are out there to get you, yeah, they'll let you win a little bit. And then they trick people into a bear market, and the S&P 500, they're tricking me all day long. I don't know, it's just watching, so if you're a person that's like, hey, you know what, it's a lifestyle thing, right? Hey, I'm doing just fine making 40 pips a week on just kind of stupid little blips here and there. Or do you want to command the whole market and say, well, I've scanned 30 currency pairs. This is no nonsense approach to life. I got an algorithm I built with 3 special indicators I cannot show you, and I scan markets, and I look like Hong Kong gets it. So when I heard the no nonsense guy coming out with shit like, have you thought about trading like these bizarre currency pairs, Turkish lira against the French krona, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Who's got time? Number one, I guess on the daily charts at the end of the day, you're scanning. This is a lifestyle. Well, what I do is every day I get down and don't make fun of me now. I look at all 30 currency pairs. I got a scannerator here, and have to tell you that I got these hacked into No Nonsense's vault and got them 3 indicators out there. I'm killing it. I can't talk about it, but I'm killing it. And another thing is this Corona thing. Some guy donated $1 million to build the 5th floor. Now this is the Aflac guy, the guy that fired Gilbert Gottfried, I suppose, indirectly. I thought of Gilbert Gottfried as soon as this guy was bragging. Well, I'm going to spend $1 million to put the 5th floor in this house. We don't need any more. It's like, and when I heard they were getting these ventilators, I go, dude. It's a flash crash. I mean, well, I'm going to go short. I just got my scanners just went and my algorithms telling me sell the S&P 500 if they go short. Oh, God, people. Come on. It's just, I guess, for most people, hopefully they didn't sell their stocks over this nonsense. And, I always hear in the news when these things sell off, people have lost. No, they haven't lost. Only unless they get out of the trade. We've lost so much. And of course, this gap here, and it is a belief system. So if people believe that that it's going to be okay, they just go back to normal life. And I guess people, it's a wake up call. Oh, geez, I could die. Yeah, I mean, fuck it, dude. I'd be happy to die at this point. Because when I go out in public and see these people that are just like with the mask and I'm like, why don't you stay home? I got a suggestion. If you all worried about it, just stay home. Because now I see people driving. They don't drive in the morning anymore because they're not going to work, but they're fucking driving and the traffic is back to normal. So I don't know. Maybe people got new jobs. I guess we're waiting for these numbers to come in here this morning. So that'll be the thing that makes it. There's also the argument that the fundamentals, or what if you knew the future? It wouldn't even help you. So I probably talked about this a few times already, but I had this broker um, that was very slow servers. And I'm talking about when the news came out. They're like 5 to 10 minutes behind. And meanwhile, so I realized this, and I trade against them in the sense I know where the market's going, and I know it's going to drop 50 pips. I'm watching the news on the euro. But even though that I knew that we'd be in the next 5 minutes we'd be down 50 pips, and I was putting buy limits in right at the exact price practically, as I knew it was coming, and they were honoring all these tickets. At the end of the day, there was nothing that they didn't say, "Oh, well, we know you're arbitraging, and we know that you're." I still couldn't resist buying it as it went down. I mean, when I look at the screen, I'd be like, "You know, it's going lower. Are you fucking nuts?" And I knew right then that that it's too compelling. If you're a person that wants to buy something that's on sale, it's very hard to resist knowing it's going to go lower. So you see it and you're like, wow, I just I I just feel triggered to buy it, and I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that I would ignore the reality that I know it's going lower. And right there, I figured, well, if that's true, then if somebody told you that price, how would you even believe that? And I guess you would actually, some people might act on that as opposed to real reality. In other words, that's coming from some analyst saying, "Oh, we think this is going to happen." People probably have more faith in that because reality is too harsh, and it's a very bizarre feeling to say, "God, what are you doing?" But I was so used to just making. I know that I can make money if it's dropping, so naturally, I just want to buy it if it's dropping. Then I thought, well, what the fuck? Why don't you just put a limit grids in there? Because you know you're going to buy it down there anyways, but you just go back to sleep. Yeah, so that became the answer after that. Then it was like, but this breakout thing, I'm not a big fan of breakouts, but this is a big experiment this week. And I think you could trade it because I talk about it all the time on here that this breakout style, you can't blame the style of trading the fact that you can't make money from it. And it would be here. It would have to do with the size of the position, the frequency, and the way that you splay it out. And I've been pulling the trigger here on the euro dollar for like, oh god, the whole time it's been consolidating here. And I also put an indicator here that I'm going to post. All I did was I took the ATR that I posted, and it included the open and the close. So I actually have a time volatility of 1 moment, 2 moments in time on that bar. So open to close. And we get this beautiful divergence here. If you look at the white line, which is closing prices, this is like the crudest indicator that I can think of. The histogram on the top there with the blue line on it, at the one in the middle, is the range of each bar. The one on the bottom is the closing, the open to close price. So if we close higher than we open, we're above this zero line. I don't know if you can see, but I could fatten that up, I suppose, a little bit. That might be a good idea. Right now it's a dotted line. And I also put in here, when we were up 100 pips, so this is up and this is up, and here's divergence. We start to lose momentum. It's still going up, but not from, and this is not, it's not this, what you're seeing down here. What you're seeing is just open to close. So it opens here. The candle opens here and goes up. I know it closed here, but that's the other thing about drawing trend lines, that technically speaking, if you draw a trend line on close, it looks like this. If you draw them on the bodies, the opens, it looks like this. So it's slightly different as it breaks into this. But if you're a person that's going to Sell if it's up, or you're waiting for divergence. You're waiting for this thing to lose momentum. This is the first indication. So the same thing we're seeing in a trend. The first time it takes a breath there. So this move, this body's not big as this body by this many pips. So it's just nothing but pure pips here. This is 46 pips on the top. This one's 60. The range is bigger typically than the closing prices. So when you had this big sell-off here, are you buying that? Here's the dojis live here. So you always know there's a doji because you haven't hardly moved. It's a different way of looking at data. And a different trade plan. So this guy was asking, well, what do I do here? I got a doji with a big wick. Okay, so you would have pulled the trigger here on your doji bot. So this is kind of a big, I'm revealing the holy grail of how to build a robot. If you build a doji bot, it's going to look for this number. Right? Here's your entries in Dojiville. So if you want to look at the data like this, you're like, okay, I see an entry here. This is obviously like gravestone or whatever, small body and small wick. So if you wanted the robot to only take premium trades, small wick, small body, small wicks, small body. So let's look for the trades that you would take on the 4-hour chart. Non-directional trades. They can be, these could be totally non-directional trades. This is a qualifier here. Now, your targets have to be in line with this move, though. And they trapped you here. Here is another, I guess I'm back testing, but if you see how many tickets I got in there, I'm looking for the, oh boy, here is a qualifier. So I would have built a position here off of this. I wouldn't just take that one trade and think, oh yeah, what is the best trade here? Like here's small wick, small body. I get in here, it's short. Okay, but you know, it didn't come down to here. It is not like this move. This move is formed by all of this, and you could say, well, there's a double bottom, there's a triple bottom, we got a drifting up, we got a wedge, we got this. Yeah, but what's really going on is that to get a triangle, you need to have the market die. And if you're buying the dead zone, and when this thing takes off, you're out. Now, granted, there are people that are like, okay, I sold here, I sold here, I sold here, and this one I'm going to make money on. And almost this one, I almost kind of made a little bit if I waited for this entry here that I sold the market to come all the way back to that wick. Another thing is, am I gonna trade this all week long? This is sunny night. Am I gonna come in here and just try to really take advantage of every price pulse in here on some level? If you were to trade breakout systems here, you could draw a trend line. This, we're starting to lose this. We're losing bodies. The bodies are getting smaller. Everything's getting smaller. If you can see the structures being caved in here, now you trade it with limits down here, or those are your targets, and you cash out. So last night I just cashed out. I saw that come back and fill it. I got out. Here, did I get in big enough with wide enough stops? No. So that's kind of a bad trade in a way because I did not take advantage of that giant move. Now here I've been stacking up this thing ungodly, and I'm at about $100 a margin, and I'm kind of back to, I'm down about $100 here. So it's costing me quite a bit, and I'm going to put in some more tickets now. It's costing me quite a bit to do this trade. So it is expensive, but I could make $1,000 when they come out with the unemployment claims. And it's not here. What am I doing? Oh, it's not taking my orders here. That's shitty broker. You have to wait for both tickets to come in. I'm not waiting. And I don't know why. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so here's a bad entry. Kind of 8 pips above. I wrote this one as 8 pips above. 20 to make 80. So this is my greediest ticket. 20 to make 80, but I should probably write a 20 to make 100 and 20 to make 120 and a 40 to make, and you see how it goes. you end up with about 50 scripts here. And these are just loading like shit in here. And 8 pips away, I don't know why it's not taking this, but it's fucked up. This shitty, there's nobody trading here. So here's the scalps. 6 to make 16, 2-hour script. Here's a 10. So these I can build up for the London breakout, so to speak. It's 4:10 in the morning, 4:09. I just hate that fucking thing coming up and saying that. Do you really want to stop that? Yeah, I really want to stop. I don't know how to get rid of that. Pure hedging. I'm only at $52, so I basically cost me all this stuff. Yeah, you're gonna lose. It's gonna cost you in this scenario, in this style of trading. So what style of trading do you want to do? Do you want to be a what they call a sniper with your rifle, and you want to just go, oh dude, you should see this rifle I've got, and you're waiting for that one moment in time, waiting for this triple bottom here. Now also there's people, I'm sure they're happy, just like I made this trade, I did this, I sold here, it's up, I sold, here's a rally I sold. But the limbing, also this is a big triangle, and this is where people are, oh yeah, they keep trapping me and they're manipulating the market and it's just not fair. Okay, this market is just kind of recovering from this. It's consolidating. 80% of the market is wave 4. It's consolidating. Or they call it a recession. And this is what's going on right now in the United States, is that when people are all irrational enthusiasm, and people bid stuff up, and then it gets to a point, and then people are like, okay, we got to take an out breath. I mean, it's got to breathe, and we have to reshuffle the deck because it's a crowded trade. And all you have to do is have this Corona, or if it wasn't Corona, it would have been maybe, God, what kind of, I mean, the grid went down in California because of all these tree huggers. They had the plants, I guess they were endangered species, so they didn't cut them, and the power lines caught on fire. Well, the government forced them to cut corners. And they're like, I guess we just won't cut the lawn. And then the shit caught on fire. Now, this is the year 2019. And you would think that after watching 2001 Space Odyssey, people would be like, wow, I think we got this power thing down. No, Jimmy Bob's got a fucking wire laying in a tub of gasoline. What did I tell you? Jimmy Bob just kind of hooked up the whole city over here on the corner. See that lot over there? That's the main thing coming in. Really? Wow, maybe you should cover. No, it's been working so far. I know Jimmy Bob says he's got it all rigged out. Okay. It's like Petticoat Junction. It's real. Well, what you've done there is good, real good. How is that happening? And that's just another example. Like when Trump said this thing is broken. There ain't nothing in here. The cupboard's empty. Of course. Nobody thinks to fill it unless there's so they just stopped me out of something. I don't know. I see. Too tight to stop here. So I'm going to come in with my big guns. I don't like. I want to be in at least when this thing goes berserk. I want to be in a lot of margin. I'm putting 16 pip stops here. So once again, you cannot escape what it's going to cost you for these trades. You cannot trade a $5 million position and not expect to, or the guy that wants to make 16 grand a day, you're going to lose 30 grand one day, and you're going to have 3 days where you make 16 grand and you are up over all 42 grand or 26 grand. That's just how it's going to be. Anybody that's been trading through this Corona thing is like, wow, that's some volatility. I don't even think I have a stop for that. I don't like to risk that much. Yeah, that's risky. The risk is the volatility. The no-nonsense guys, well, we're trying to cut down the risk. Okay, well, dude, you know what? Don't trade the fucking Hang Seng against the Wing Dang. What the fuck? Go trade the Australian dollar. Go trade something like Swiss franc that's like watching paint dry. Swiss franc, shitty spread, barely moves. I don't know, maybe it's moving now. You just got to know that the euro dollar is, if you're going to trade a market, there's nothing special about trading another currency pair. You're just kidding yourself. Well, look at this thing. Okay, go trade the guppy. You know that's going to fucking make 300 pips and lose 300 pips. You can go trade the guppy. The appeal is the amount of money that it moves. There's nothing special about the currency instrument. There is if it's pegged. Obviously, that makes a difference. But even in that scenario, with trade plans that are designed to only risk a certain amount, like this stuff here, it's not going to matter because you already know. You're like, I'm going to do this trade here. I'm going for the 18 pip stops here. So if I need like a 30 pip stop in here, obviously, because they're kicking me out of this trade. It's pissing me off. This is a lot of volatility. This thing's going to just, I think it's going up. I think it's going to be an explosion up. I think stocks are going to rip up. I think Friday we're going to close so fucking high into this Corona bullshit. God, the models. My model says that 8 zillion people per hour will die. Oh, you one of those 5G guys? Oh, 5G is radiation. Dude, it's not. Alex Jones, my God. Well, you got to take zinc, see? Everybody's cashing in on this thing. It's so funny. So that's another reason why I think stocks are going to take out the all-time high, because all these scammers are going to spend their money too, you know. I just got to get a different broker for this shit. Here, let me change time frames. So if you have a script that's hanging up, which I thought I did, you change time frames and it'll say, do you want to stop that? It kind of kills the script. Now look at the daily chart. You can hardly see my targets are not designed for the daily chart. They should be up here. I should be getting out on these rooftops here. We know there's sellers like you can't believe up here. And if they take out these, you could take that out in 1 day or in 3 days. Just like when you took out this low. Now, this is 100 pips from here to here. You want to make a lot of pips? Here's a secret trade. Here's one nobody thought of. I still am just baffled that the no-nonsense guy hasn't taken a 5-period moving average and just traded the dailies. He'd make so much money. Even if he looked at all those currency pairs, what is the first rally in this down market? Your 5 periods going down. Okay, you sell here. Well, you only made like 400 pips in how many days? But if you did not take profits, it came all the way back to here, and you're like, I don't get it. I thought this was just going to keep going. Did you really think that? Okay, you probably did. We all did if we were short. Like, dude, wait till we get to here. Then you're like, wait a minute. Well, it's coming all the way back. It's like a... What? And then who's going to sell here? And then when it starts to drift down, you're like, I don't know, man. I'm making money, but oof. And maybe it's going to go like this. Or maybe it's going to go like this. So we're right at the fork in the road. Are we going like this? Into the abyss? Is this like, here's the beginning of the month. You know, you really can't believe this volatility. Let me zoom out. Okay. Look at this thing. You got to be kidding me. Now, here's the 100 pip grid. So I put the 100 pips in here. This dotted line is 100 pips. This means this thing went from here down 100 pips. 100 pips. I know it's kind of weird looking because what this represents is that we moved 100 pips and like 70 pips, and this is a 100 pip move. It's 170 pips down. It's not like what you think. It's not a histogram of MECD. It's kind of awkward at first because this represents about 100, almost a 200 pip drop from here. So it's actually 300 pips, right, from stem to stern there. You're selling this rally. You're selling because you're above the zero. Like here was the doji trade, and then it rips down. Next thing is like, oh my god. Then it rips up a you can't see it here, but this means you opened because you closed here. It's kind of awkward. You closed here, and so it didn't go down that much. It looks like it's hard to read if you're used to reading other kind of indicators. That's lost some momentum to the downside. But since this is nothing but a representation to open and close, it just means it didn't go down as much. But then open to close here is like brutal. It's also the middle of the month. So here is the run into the new highs. Big ripping move. Here's your first divergence, second divergence. Comes up. Now this is just a representation of range. So the breakout traders plus volatility. Same thing. Like low volatility, and here is the... Now this is not a good trade. If you sell this slight drift up, good trade. So your 5-period moving average is adapting here. You're getting that trade on. Then you're going to buy this pullback. You don't have to have volume baseline C1, C2, C. And it's so sad that people have followed this guy in some kind of fucking cult religion. It's just amazing. It's like when you see people have a YouTube channel and they have some dumb logo T-shirt written at their swag. You know, buy this T-shirt and wear it. Or what the fucking wearing that? Hey, you listen to that guy too? I don't know. Maybe it's just a little too goofy for me. Too much like secret knocks. You know, when we were kids, we build a fort. The secret knock. I'm like, dude, it's me. Come on, secret knock, really? You can't smell me from here. You can smell the corona on me. And what we got forming here is now No Nonsense has a 14-period moving average on this, so I'll show you what the ATR looks like to him. Reveal the secret. ATR's dropping off. Yeah, no, it looks like it's getting real quiet. We could pop up or down here. We could take out either way. So I am kind of also spending money here. I think it's going up here on this pop. So why am I putting on the hedge? I'm just trying to be a disciplined trader. And I guess prove a point. And I think mechanical non-directional trading is a valid way to make money. And I could say I'm treading water right now. But I'm paying to build this position. I'm buying a house I know has, like, it needs work. It's a fixer-upper. She's a fixer-upper. That's what. So that's the thing also. When you're picking out an organic thing, which here you're trading, this is like being in a bad relationship because the market's organic, moving. It's not a static thing. You're not buying a car. You're buying, like, something that could hurt you. You're taking a ride on a bull or a bear, and it can turn around and bite you. I'm finding all the patience in my heart to wait between clicks here, because like if I see another pop up, so I really should write the 120 pip targets, but I'm not. And that's another thing, being lazy. So here you see I keep stacking up this hedge. I shouldn't even be doing that now, but I'm only using the body as my rationale to pull the trigger on that. The 4-hour chart here, so there's only 6 trades, 6 signals a day, and this is the breakout for me of the range, and there's the open to close. So all I did was make the code instead of high plus low. I think it's close over open or something. I'll post it in there. All I did was change 2 words. And I really want to build a robot based on this crude stuff. So somebody's saying, no, they need somebody to build a robot. And then I saw a couple guys on the internet, on YouTube, and this one guy, he's like, yeah, this is this, and I'm doing this, and then I'm like, holy shit, could you post that, please? And if you freeze frame the screen and stuff, you could copy what he did. He types so fast. I can't believe he's typing while he's talking, because I think he typed it and then talked over it. And holy shit, he shows how to do a trailing stop. I'm like, my God. First he wrote the library. I'm like, okay, that's a little deep dive for me. And then there's another guy that does tutorials and talks about it. He does post a free indicator or shows you how to do just randomly gets in the market. And I guess that's what I'm kind of doing, but I am trying to reserve the breakout trading for a quiet market and trade a real breakout. Now, it's not always a clean breakout, and that's why we're not making all that kind of money right now. But if I keep forging ahead here and I'm building this big position before the news, I know these 12-hour scripts will be around for the breakout. And that's why I'm putting in more of these 12-hour risk 20 to make 80. Now, I could also get kicked out of this. That's why you also have to embed in there the I'll risk 10 to make 20, because you got to pay for that chop. Now, I should write a script here that's 50 to make 150 on the 12-hour. So I go like this, and I say, okay, modify. And then I say, all right, let's write that. First, I name it. I always name it first because then you can, so if you name it first, then what you can do is write to the name. So I say, give me, and this I'm going to put in, I'll leave the 8 pip away entry. So I go, give me a 50 pip stop. And it's going to show up 500 when I write this code. And I'm going to say I want to make 150 pips. Now, I'm using this just for the jobs report today. And I'll be stacking this up. And I can just keep stacking this. I know exactly what it costs me, $5 every time I pull the trigger here. Actually, 10 if they trap me. All right, it's a dual leg. So if the market rips up 50, down 50, and then finally leaves the gate, they're going to blow out that whole trade. So that's here 8 pips away on a stop, and here is my 50 pip stop. So these things you know going in, not 500s, 50 pip stop. This is the stuff you know going in. And this is the thing that makes it a little bit more relaxing, is that you know the risk going in. This is 15 to make this 150. Okay, now that's 12 hours, and I'll be able to see that. And I didn't call out the targets here, but I could. This will be the comments. This will show up in the terminal, anything inside these quotations. I use blue for buy and red for sell. Of course, red and blue for your targets are hard written into the code. You can change that if you want. You're going to go library and the card catalog. Okay, I'm going to start launching this puppy now. We got to wait for this to update. Coming back into the... So this weekend, I'm going to build a bunch. I'll even put some dailies in there. And then I could trade other instruments, but that's going to cost me. I think I might have put on... Oh, that's right. Another reason why I'm kind of seeing weird equities is that I did put the British pound hedge on last night. Still waiting for this thing to give me the script here. This computer had to use a swap file. My margin level just went up. So here we have the 50 pip stop to make a 150. So you see it coming in there at the top. That's like way up here. And amazingly, it's like up here where everybody's going to sell. But this is symmetrical trade. So this whole morning here into the news, I'm going to keep hammering this same script here. 50 to make 150. So like I was asking about the, this is going to cost you $5 to make 15 here. That's if we get a clean breakout one direction. I just have to endure the, and I should write one that makes 100. I should write one that's got a 40 pip stop to make 100 and on and on and on. It goes forever. You want to get out 5 pips apart. How many pips apart are you going to get out of this thing? And in a perfect world, you got 5 standard lots each direction. They're going to get out 5 pips apart, and you're kind of like making money through that whole thing, through that whole sweep. So here it's 2K per click. Both buy stops, sell stops could get filled. 8 pips away, so I'm really looking for the big drama, and there's the risk is that, well, why not just get in the hedge now? You could do that. You could buy on sell with a 25 pip stop to make 75 pips at the market constantly. And you are going to lose a leg when it hits that 25. Whereas if you bracket it with a buy stop and a sell stop and there's a clean breakout one direction, even though you're overpaying for that confirmation entry, it's a better trade in that sense. But if you put it on a at the market hedge with a 25 pip stop on each leg with a 75 pip target on each leg, then if the market explodes, you still doubled your money, even though they look like triple your target, right? Because you're 25 to make 75, but you're losing a leg. Or do you just put buy stops in and trade directionally? That's going to be better if you're right. And then, in the limit world, do you throw a shotgun of limits out there to catch the... I'm kind of shotgunning the breakout here, but you could have the other thing with you have a big spread of limits out there, and you're going to capture the retracement, the engulf, the swing. Man, I cannot really... Yes. I want to really stop that trade. This broker is such shit. Their server's probably not even connected. So that's another thing, reason why you do demo. Yeah, see, this is just... Now watch change time frame. I try to kill it here, see. It's still holding that onto that original script. So I should be looking at the platform to make sure these are filling. I can barely see. I have to go to the 5-minute chart to see it fill. Okay. See, I'm building up buy stops. 8 pips away. We won't even get filled on this thing until it really takes off. And here's the scalp. So this is very close. You see the difference, how close that is? That's almost at the market. This will be a lot of risk. Once this gets filled and trapped at 8 pips away from current right now on the 5-minute chart, you'd be like, okay, but see on the 15, you're like, I like that. I like that breakout. I like the breakout here. Now the half hour at the market traders, the people that make money on the half hour chart, what is their trade plan? Well, it's kind of tough for them. They have to, if they're a buy low sell high person, they got to buy this, they got to buy that, and then they got to dump. They got to sell that the bears are selling. No sell here. They could sell this, they could sell that, they could sell that. This one makes money. The buyers are buying this, right? But here's the thing. If you can see this low, and this is the Williams fractal trap on the half hour, that this low here, if you're a limit guy, you got limits. This is the Asian breakout. You got limits here. Well, it's like an ICT trade block. Whatever. This is an obvious, I wouldn't say London breakout, maybe London fake out trap, right? Takes out the low of the day, comes in here. There's a bunch of tickets, and this is very fast. I'd also like to have a robot in my arsenal, a robot that takes advantage of this Corona sell-off. Another Corona move. Too fast, too hard. Sells, buys. Does not necessarily buy this drift down. It needs to be like this. drama. But now here, unless you scalp that move here, you got to wait a long time before you see that price again. If I was going to trade limits right now, I would put the limits in like this, right? I'm looking to catch this on limits if I'm not in this market. So I normally trade on limits because I'm like, yeah, this is probably going to happen. And getting that number right is as difficult as getting this hedge right. So I did put on a hedge here because in the 4-hour chart we were going sideways. In this move here, I might have scalped out. But if I got the greedy targets with the 20 pips, the 50 pips stop to make 150, I'm just trapped in something here, waiting for it to resolve. Is it going to break this big structure? Is it going to go through that? Oh, now it's not so hard to take if I'm in all these tickets, see? So being in all these little tickets adds up. And if I go to the 1-hour chart, you would change your mind about the whole trade again. You're like, well, wait a minute. What about this? What about that? Well, yeah, what about it? And if you're going to trade on the 1-hour chart, it's lower frequency. So you're going to buy this, you're going to sell this, and it can't be that easy. Yeah, sell this, but see, that's your big target. And now you're coming into this structure hole, and you expect it to come ripping back to this. And all this hemming and hawing here, people call noise. No, this is something's going on here. People are building, or they're creating a market within a market. So you have this sideways action. Yeah, there's people that are just exchanging at that price until this thing can get out of this congestion that you can now see on the 4-hour chart. Oh, I see. Yeah. Gotcha. When you go to the daily, you're like, wow, this is really... But the sad thing about no nonsense is he cannot see this. He can't see this because all he sees is his stupid fucking 3 supposedly holy grail indicators he built, and maybe it's like, well, I took this sell here, and we did good on that trade. I just can't live like that. I ain't waiting that fucking long to get in a trade. If I can't trade every day, then what the fuck am I doing? I mean, being a day trader, I guess that was always wanted to be a day trader in commodities, and the problem with that is the market's only open for like 225 minutes in the grain market, and you're like, they open at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, 10:30. Well, it's the Chicago time, and you're like, they're gonna close at 2? Yep. Oh God, the market. So somebody asked about, well, in stock market, what if you put a buy stop here and stocks are gapping? And I would say, why are you trading stocks? But maybe you have a heartfelt thing about Aflac building a wing at the 5th floor of some hospital somewhere. I'm trying to save people, can't you see? I'm virtue signaling how much I... But you got rid of Gilbert Gottfried because he said the too soon joke, right? It was with the oh God, it kind of gets buried in all the drama there, but Fukushima jokes that Gilbert Gottfried was whipping out the aristocrats. And if I zoom out, so I just have this up here. I'm going to delete it now. I was able to not delete these. I was just showing how I got in the market. So I'm going to delete all these objects. We'll just be left with the entries. Also, I've been using my delete all objects on the tablet. I have a ton of these in between the scripts, so I don't accidentally see out more than one delete objects because it's safe to hit that. And also, look, I can't even do a delete objects. It's like, do you really want to delete all objects? Yeah. And you can, I don't really need the indicators. I'm just putting it up there to show that indicators are just a filter. So I could run it like this. I'm pretty aware of the fact that this here is a doji. So there's 2 ways to look at it. You're going to just say, yeah, it looks like the market's going sideways. And I can see the vacuum building up. That's how I'm looking at the market. Sure, you could look down here and go, yeah, okay, this told me to do this. This is the lack of I think I can see, And so this is a inverted kind of hammer. This is a big hammer. But I always wanted to, when I saw candlestick charts and I saw hammers, I go, can I be the wick of the hammer? I wanted to buy the wick of the hammer and hold through the engulf, right? I want to buy that wick, and that's when the idea of putting limit grids in that last for an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes. I love this trade. It makes money, but I want to hold on through the rides. So we see the so-called stop hunt the wick. I got limits to capture that, and I could put a buy stop here, or even I could do what I'm doing here, which I'm not a fan of this because of the financial investment. Like, I'm only up $37, but I got this monster thing, and if we take this out when the news comes and we flip up without going down 50 pips, my winners that are designed for that move are gonna, you'd be like, dude, we just made like $2,000. All we did was keep pulling the trigger as we went sideways. This is the 1 hour chart, so it looks so on the 1 hour chart, I can see my trades here. I'm like, yeah, I got a pending here, and I scooped that. I wish I would have gotten bigger here, and if I was babysitting, I would have bought at the market. On the 1 hour, I would have bought. If it's down big, you buy. So that was another video I did. Trading at the market, if it's down really big, buy really big, and by that I mean buy with a wide stop. Risk more in a big move. Now, it's counterintuitive. You're going to risk more in a big move and less in a small move from a pip standpoint, stop out. So if I get in to make this dollar amount the same, yeah, I'm going to buy big here and then I'm out. I get in big here, I'm out. I get in big here, right, I'm out. I get in really big when it's like choppy, when it's quiet, wick-wise. So if it's quiet here, I get in big. So this is kind of why the indicator is there, is so that you can say, in a kind of fast back test scan, I'm like, okay, it's down here. Let's think about getting a trade. Okay, you made some money. Let's think about getting a trade. Okay, so you made some money. But on the other side of that coin, there's a guy going, I'm waiting for a big rally. I'm going to sell at the market. Or he's got a limit on top of this. Williams fractal, he's going to fade Williams, which means he's going to go against the trade plan. Yes. People say, God, I'm losing money. If I would have inverted all my trades, I would have made money. Yeah, because you're doing the no-nonsense goober. Well, it's up, so I'm buying. Got confirmation like crazy on the. And look at the guys in the Discord of no-nonsense. No-nonsense, by the way, is this guy that just came out of this podcast world and was able to suck in people. He's not charging, but he's renting space in my head. But he's an example of ultimate gooberdom. And ICT would probably go, dude, this guy's a complete goober. And this is where there's that bridge between, he's a nice guy, but he's a goober. We all know these people. Very nice guy, but you wouldn't let him babysit your kids if you cared about your kids, because he's going to dumb them down. Yeah, Joe, he's a nice guy, but, keep him away from the kids, would you, honey? Yeah, he's a nice guy. Well, he's our neighbor, and that is the most bizarre thing, that when you buy a house, no matter where it is, you're at the mercy of your neighbor. You're in a relationship, bad relationship there too. Our neighbor's doing it again, honey. I know. Well, and this is the web of life. This is the ship of fools we're on with this Corona thing. Oh my God, really? So I saw this Asian kid, and he must have been all of 18 years old. And I thought, oh my God, no mask. He's at Starbucks. So I go to the grocery store, Starbucks, now because, I'm fascinated by people with the Corona thing. It's so cute. You got a mask on, do you? Well, they said I don't know if I should wear it. And then people have embroidered masks. I'm like, damn it, I should have been fucking long, like, I don't know, Day-Glo mask or some kind of really cool mask. Like, I could have been on top of this. It's not government approved. It's not N95. Dude, that M95 isn't even fucking contoured to your nose. I like when who was Chucky Schumer came out with his fucking mask, not covering his nose. Oh God. It's like people that take pictures with a lens cap on. Oh my God, really, dude? You gotta be kidding me. So we're all patiently awaiting the jobs report. It's baked into the cake. These numbers are manipulating the market. I can't take it. They stop me out. I'm sure that Norman Michael guy's gloating. He got in the S&P 500 here, pulled back, and I thought, God, hasn't he figured out the game? So he bought here. I was listening to his thing. He bought this pullback here. It went a little lower. Here's a topic come bottom structure on clothes. We all see that. But then again, once again, this always comes down to like, well, did I buy 5 million contracts here? Yeah, people could have. I can see the scalp in there. I can see all the trades in there. I can see the goobers getting ready. It's a bear market. Oh my God, dude. If they even open up the churches for fucking, and this will be a fundamental view into technical, that it will be in this box. Even if people show up in the fucking parking lot and I'm on my G5, 5G, using it in the car, I just melted my testicles, getting saved by Jesus. I think it's cute how people are. I'm not religious. I'm atheist all day long. Because how could God let this happen? Well, I'm ruining my jam sessions on Saturday night with this fucking... I mean, people in my band are like, oh, well, the gauntlet of the police state is no fun, though. Nobody wants to drive home, on Oxycontin looking at the police. I mean, you wouldn't believe what's going on here. In the red mitten. So, yeah, this is... the scalpers are already taking advantage of this morning. We probably pulled back to here. You could put a buy limit here. So the fear of missing out is kind of another thing that I've cured by putting in buy limits all the way down. And the farther you step away from this trading at the market and realize that it's going to probably pull back 5 pips. No. I'm buying right now. It's never going to look back. Okay. I gotcha. So why would you do that? Well, I bought this really big car. It was like they're never going to make these cars again. Yeah, but you could, I'm supposing you're making money from cars. But people don't necessarily do that. They built their algorithm. They're invested in this belief system that this is how you do it, and I'm going to get in big, and this is it. So, when these stocks were dropping like a whore, people jumped in, I'm sure, bought at the market, which they would have bought half that position and put the rest in on limits. And I don't know if you can do that in stocks. And if you are trading stocks on an FX platform with a tight spread and low commissions, okay. But yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I think people that also they trade stocks or the ES minis. This is the big fight I've had with these level 2 people. They're like, well, you don't understand, man. This is a very transparent market. We can see all the tickets. Okay, how's that helping you? Can anybody step up to the plate and tell me how much money they made from level 2, level 8 trading on fucking that goddamn sell-off in the ES minis and whatever? Well, I could see Bill Gates' order was about 500 pips deep, along with Bill Lichtenstein and the Lichtenstein guy. I should play that in the background, like in the streams when you play the sell-off. I mean, talk about emotion and talk about... And once again, the institutions are coming in late. So in the... I can't remember his first name, but you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you don't. But at this point, here comes Chase. Here comes Bank of America buying. They're not buying here. They're not buying here. This is just the market. Who cares who's buying that? And this is the other thing. Oh, the big boys ain't going to let you win. God, dude, that is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. That has to be all the way to the top of dumb shit. And I don't know what this guy's angle is. If he was trying to just get a group of goobers for his prop house, or it's just mind-boggling. Fascinating, mind-boggling. You know, it's Alex Jones. You got it. He's selling his fucking supplements, right? And he's got this big, grandiose set, and it's a circus. But when it comes down to making money, it's pretty goddamn boring from the sense that it's not very sexy. And this is another thing about, I think, the cloud trading and the Gartley's, obviously, that is, like I said, that's a Picasso bikini. It's a fourth dimension bikini. And it's like, okay, my God, this looks pretty. And pastel. And let me guess, did you use the Fibonacci on that? I wonder if Calvin Klein uses Fibonacci to design his clothes. I better get out a measuring stick here. You know what? I noticed if you look at the way that's cut Or how about this guy that's making a mint from untucked shirts? Dude, I've been wearing untucked shirts. Yeah, it's called untucking your shirt. It's the proper length. I know. If you go to like the big and tall man shop, if you're like 7 feet, weren't you going to the big and tall man shop? Or if you're a giant girl like my first wife, I thought that Lane Bryant. So I didn't know it was Christmas, and I was in love with my wife at the time. I went to the mall, and I thought, Lane Bryant, is that a good brand? So I go in there, and I didn't realize it was designed for Zoftig women, large women that are about to get corona. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. So I thought, well, that looks really cool. And I go, size, because I'm thinking men's sizes. Size 42, is that a good size for a coat? And I didn't realize that women have shit like size 00. My wife was probably like a 3. And I spent like 2 hours in that store. It's Christmas. I was very anxious because Christmas I was running out of time. I think that's another thing. It was a real market's about to close trade. And I'm like, oh my God, should I get this? Should I get that? And I'm like, oh fuck, I think I'm in the wrong kind of store. Worse than showing up at a gay bar or something. Oh God, I don't see any girls in here. But yeah, look at this market, man. This is some kind of crazy shit, man. When people lose their minds. Losing their minds. So, I think I'm going to put in some more buy stops and I'm going to go back to sleep. Wait for all the crazy people. I'm putting these 12 hours in. I'm going to put a couple of these greedy guys in. 50 pip stops, so I'm going to stack these up. See how those are coming in right at the trap zone. So is it a fake out or is it a breakout? That is the classic question of all time. Of all time, that is the question. But let me accommodate both situations. I got some scalps in here. So as that pulls back, if I work around the fact that I'm stuck with this trading, this style, I would say let's put a scalp in. As that comes back to this topic on the bottom, I don't have to ignore the fact that there's structure here. And since I'm stuck with this trade plan, yeah, I would get in here in anticipation. We're going to take this out, or we're going to take out this and keep tanking. I'd rather put buy stops and buy limits in right now. So if I trade this on the hourly, I'm like, okay, I can see that, I can see that, I can see that. And maybe I've made some money here in my limits and even my stop entries. Of course, I've erased my entries. All I can see now is the position I'm in and the ones I just placed. So that's how that works. And I'm going to build some more of these breakout things. So I'll make this a comment. This is just open to close histogram at the bottom there.